How do I tell a friend that I'm really not that interested in her kid? Disclaimer. Don't use this text for anything. I have a friend who is about my age, but unlike me has a 6-year-old child. We haven't seen much of each other since the pandemic started, but we're in regular contact through text and social media and phone calls. In the before time, when we would hang out, it occasionally included the kid, but more in a kid plays video game in the other room, while we talk kind of way. And often, she came alone, because she has custody every other week and tends to do most of her socializing in the child-free weeks. I didn't have much meaningful interaction with the kid, is what I'm saying here. And the kid was already in kindergarten when she and I met, so it's not like I was around for the pregnancy and baby years and could have bonded over that. She sends me a lot of photos and videos of her kid. They go to the zoo together? 10+ pics of kid with various animals. Breakfast on the balcony? Pics of kid posing on balcony. They're on holiday? Everyday pictures of kid on the beach, kid in front of various landmarks. Even if they're doing something normal at home, I get pics of the kid drawing or eating. Now that the kid is in school, I get videos of whatever they do there, like little performances. Or pictures of well-done schoolwork. I don't know how to react to this. I'm not a kid person. I like my nibblings and enjoy pictures of them and their accomplishments, but that's literally it. They're also the first kids I've taken an actual interest in since I was a kid myself. It's not that I don't like kids, but I'm just not the kind of person who's very children-oriented. It runs in the family. We tend to only really be emotionally involved with our own kids, grandkids, nibblings. My friend has siblings, too, and her parents are very fond of their grandchild, so it's not like she doesn't have anyone else to share her maternal pride with. I don't think she has any close friends with kids, though. I've tried ignoring the pictures, videos and only commented on other stuff in them like the animals, when she sends zoo pictures, hoping she would get the hint. Of course, simply being on the receiving end of photos and videos doesn't harm me in any way. Even my cell phone storage can take it. I feel bad, however, when she sends me a video of her kid with a heart eye emoji and I don't have anything to say about it. I literally don't. I'd be lying if I commented something like, "How cute," because other than a few babies I don't really find kids cute. I react more strongly to kittens and puppies than to the offspring of my own species. Should I say something? If yes, how to break this to her kindly? My mom combats this sort of thing by showing the person tons of pictures of her cats. That way she isn't rude, 'cause she isn't flat out saying anything, but they tend to get the message. I think the best way to handle this would be to just let her send the pictures, and if you don't have anything to say then don't force yourself to say anything. She clearly enjoys sharing the pictures with you. She's trying to let you into her world in a deeper way, I guess. So why not let her? You aren't obligated to respond, and unless she starts pressuring you to respond, there's literally zero harm done to anybody. I'm thinking if you want this friendship, you have to accept that she's a proud mom. I've also got friends who spam me with pictures of the little ones, and even though I love kids, it could be a little much. But after time it calmed down. Maybe if you don't really say anything, maybe just react with an emoji if you feel obliged to. You could also say something, but no matter how nicely you put it, chances are she'll get pretty hurt. Just reply with smiling face. And then change the subject to something you want to talk about. Sounds more like an oversharing problem than a kid problem. But overall, if you're gonna be friends with someone who has a child, best to understand they're going to talk about said child. What are you passionate about? Respond with that. She's sharing what is clearly most important to her. That's an invitation to respond in kind. I really don't hold much hope for this friendship lasting. Parents with young children struggle to maintain friendships when other children aren't involved for the very reason you are demonstrating. Some friends enjoy being part of their friends' lives. You are not one of them. It's okay to move on. You don't sound that invested in the friendship anyway. The short answer is, you don't tell her. It does sound like she's going out with amount of pictures, but don't feel like you have to craft complex response to them. Just send a single emoji or single word response to be polite. We all bore our loved ones sometimes, but some things we just need to be kind about. Don't feel bad about sending her excessive pictures of stuff you're into in the circumstances. In my opinion, if you're that close of a friend to be in regular contact through text and phone calls, then she probably feels like you're close enough to share personal things about her family. She's not doing this to bother or annoy you. I wouldn't say anything and just let her continue. It doesn't seem like she demands a reply. This is just part of any relationship. I don't care about my best friend's obsession with Captain America, or my boyfriend's fascination with world history. But I feign interest and say, "That's interesting, tell me more," or, "That's so cool," when they engage with me on those topics. I think you'd be a bit of an ass as you just came out and said, "I don't gain anything from you sharing pictures of your kid, so stop." The way you phrase this makes it seem like a very minor inconvenience that doesn't bug you too much. So if you value this friendship, then I think you should just put up with it. And, "Looks like she had fun," or, "Ah, cute," will suffice in situations where you feel the need to respond to her pictures. Just ignore them. Despite having 5 kids of my own, I don't like other people's kids. I do not send people videos or pics of my kids unless asked. I take the assumption that no one wants to see them but me and my husband and probably grandmas. My sister sadly feels the whole world must gawk at her child. She sent so many damn pics and photos. I just ignored them and sometimes made comments about something else. Took over a year, but she got it eventually and doesn't send many now. She's also someone who thought I would love to babysit. I don't babysit. For anyone. I hate it. I keep a list of sitters I pay, and if they are all busy then I don't go. So just ignore them and carry on. Delete and move on. For every picture or video I get of friends' kids, minus the one friend whose kids I actually care about, I send a picture of my plants or my cats or whatever my husband is eating. It took a couple years and 1 or 2 people getting pissy, but I no longer receive pics, vids of kids. And my mom friend knows not to send me gross food on face or naked pics. Your friend sounds like a great mother, and if you say anything, you can pretty much guarantee that your friendship will be over. She is sharing her valuable time and experiences. Acknowledge and then share yours. That is what friendship is about. Maybe just grin and bear it. Say something short and nice, or even just a heart emoji, then delete the pictures, videos and change the subject. All my friends are parents and I'm not, and I really don't like kids. So it seems like most of the group chat stuff is parenting, kid-dominated. I pretty much just ignore it if I'm not in the mood or do a quick read-through, and I'll just send an emoji or something but not get into the convo. My actual contributions are not kid-related at all, so I just change the subject to something else. If it gets to be that they don't want to talk about anything but their kids for weeks at a time, I just mute the chat for a while and tell a little white lie about work keeping me busy. I don't need to hurt their feelings by telling them, "Your main interest doesn't interest me and I have nothing to contribute to the conversation." Hope that helps. They are a package deal. If you tell her you don't need the pictures and would rather meet without him, you will lose contact with her. Why not just keep her as a friend and find someone else to be closer? I have a friend who sent me a loot of Snapchats of his kid doing kid stuff. It went on for a while until I told him, "I enjoy the occasional picture of kiddo and seeing what you guys get up to, but it's getting to be a bit much." It's not rude to express that you don't want loads of pictures of someone's kid, unless you go out of your way to express that in an unfriendly way. She might not feel great hearing it, but you don't feel great getting all these pictures. It'll pass. Do you know how often I send pictures of any of my kids to anyone that is not my sibling, wife, parent, or in-law? Well, let's see. Caught up with Ricky for the first time in 12 years, I sent him one pic of the whole family. My best friend, Marty, he usually will get a family picture once every few years. Outside of that, zero. I love my kids and I love my family. But, come on dude, nobody else cares. It's not that hard to have self-awareness about this stuff. It's egocentric, self-centered and just kinda clueless. Sometimes we make sacrifices for our friends. Is it really that big of a deal? It isn't like she's asking you to babysit. She's sending pics. And this quarantine has been hard on so many people, including parents. Maybe she's just lonely and wants to share a big part of her life with someone. Unsubscribe. Just send a smiley face or a thumbs up emoji. It sounds like this is what her day looks like now. Keep in mind you never got this type of insight into her parenting before. So instead of receiving them as, "Tell me my kid looks cute," messages, receive them as, "This is my day and how I feel about my day," messages. If she needed parenting validation or for you to aw shucks her kid, you would have been hit up for that sooner. Lots of people's conversation has changed, I bet. Instead of responding to the child, respond to the parent's day. That looks fun. Or, did you well up you softy? Then send your pic of your day. I have kids and honestly sending friends pics of them. Sounds weird? IDK it's weird lol. I have 2 kids and about to pop any day with number 3. Even in my group chat with my best friends who are also moms, 90% of our conversations do not revolve around our children, shockingly. I have CF friends who only get updated about my kids via what I post on Facebook because I know they're, for the most part, uninterested in getting direct messages about them. Lol. You can definitely have parent friends, but the ones who are only mom and never a person again, aren't for you. I don't see a way around this without hurting her feelings. So I guess you have 3 options. 1. Put up with it. 2. Don't put up with it and cut contact, seems fairly harsh to me though. 3. Tell her it bothers you. I would expect her to be hurt and may even cut contact with you. Wow, so many people giving a hard time and downvoting those that side with her into oblivion. Feel like this post is filled with obnoxious parents that do the same and are bothered by calling them out. Newsflash: no one's obligated to like kids or be constantly bombarded by unsolicited pics. Just politely ask her to tone it down, and if her bruised ego can't handle that, then maybe you should find a new friend. She might just have nothing else interesting to send. Those of us on lockdown with our kids have little else to share some days. Lol. My mom told me she enjoys the pictures but often just opens them, enjoys them, and is in the middle of something and doesn't reply. I don't care, I just send them anyway, no feelings hurt. If she didn't want them I wouldn't send them. Some people just don't need or want a picture monologue of everything someone else's kids do. You could reframe it if you really do need to say something to get it off your conscience, like, I love the kid but I'm not a very visual person for bonding with kids, so I just wanted to make sure you weren't putting in effort just for me. I think it's important to remember that she is trying to share her happiness with you. She loves her kid, and takes a bunch of pictures to try and share that feeling. I get it though, it can be overwhelming, or just not of interest. But we do things for others all the time. So because she's a friend, and she loves her kid, I would just give quick, how cute, or, looks fun, to support her, because then she'll support you when things are reversed, and then boom, more friendship. Smiley face. In reading these comments, I think a lot of people don't understand the difference between sharing and oversharing. And maybe a lot of people only have one friend, so they can't imagine not sharing absolutely everything with that person. I relate so hard to this. I love knowing there are other people out there who just don't like kids and that I'm not just a complete asshole. Lol. I mean, sure, if that's your view on things. My friend is obsessed with technology and frequently tries to show off his equipment, etc. I personally am not too interested in it, but I always feign interested, because I know that will make him happy, and he is my friend after all. I personally see no problem in faking interest for trivial matters, because I value the relationship more, but I understand if people are not willing to do that. I'm not a kid person either. Usually I just ignore kid photos and change the subject to something else. I have a friend who has a 2-year-old, and sometimes she gets carried away with talking or bragging about her kid. I'll usually just tell her, okay, I've had enough baby talk, and then change the conversation back to something else. If she's a good friend, she shouldn't get offended by you wanting quality adult time. I mean, I can't stand it when my friends spam me photos of their cats looking the exact same day after day, but I have better sense than to say that to them. I think you realize you can't say anything to her about this without looking like someone who doesn't care about your friend. Just ignore the posts. She'll get the hint or not. If she doesn't, the worst you are dealing with is some unwanted photos. If you value the friendship, definitely don't tell your friend that you don't care to see photos of her child. If you are not into that topics, you should tell your friend. Maybe suggest her to talk of different things. If she is your true friend, she will understand. The number one thing people talk about that almost nobody else gives a crap about. Their children. Most of the world has to deal with that. A majority use it as a springboard to then talk about their own kids. Or pets. Many just ignore it. Nod, that's nice, change subject. Or get blunt and tell them flat out and accept whatever fallout that causes. But you're going to see this from people with children and grandchildren all your adult life. It's standard. Don't overthink it. She probably sends the same pictures to family members and friends, and won't be actively waiting for a reply. Delete them and forget about it. Just Google pics of frogs and start sending like 7 a day in a row. Oh, if I am being spammed in person and never asked, I spam them back. I have to look at your travel pics? Fine. I will subject you to mine. No mercy. Pics of cats, squirrels or ducks or even ants. Any animals around you, and showing those is also good. Say nothing. That will only hurt her feelings, and your friendship will likely be over. Just stop responding to texts, pictures and videos of the child. When she gets no response, she will eventually stop. If she confronts you, ask her why. Why she keeps sending you pictures, videos of her child. To every answer she gives, keep asking why. She will come to the conclusion on her own, why it's illogical and inappropriate to send them to you. My go-to is, if I wanted to deal with children, I would have had my own. As a fellow children hater myself, your best bet is to not say anything and just ignore it. People that are so overzealous with sharing their potato get super defensive if you say anything bad about their potato. I just don't give a shit about other people's kids and I don't have any myself, so I don't give a shit about kids. It's not like they are interesting. Honesty can work, but I don't think it will with how she overshares everything. Not surprised if you get some poop pictures soon because, look at how big that duty was. You can just say that you aren't interested in pictures of her kid. I don't think that's that hard of an ask. Disclaimer. Don't use this text for anything. This accomplishes nothing but to make you look unintelligent. Don't respond. It did the trick for me with my SIL. I mean I love my nephew but I don't want to see 10 photos with him in his new shirt. One is enough. He's cute, we love him, move on. Is this a friendship or a relationship? Sounds like she might be oversharing for a friendship but for a relationship. Just gotta say, I'm loving how you describe pre-COVID as the before time. Honestly I would do nothing about this. This is a you problem. If you otherwise value the friendship just send a one-word answer. Cute. Or on the good marks, ah good job, or nice work, and delete it and move on with your day. She isn't doing anything wrong, she's just doing something not to your tastes. I'm not a fan of kids either, so in your position I would try to be clear that time spent together is kid-free time. That's the only real boundary I would set because that directly affects you and what you do with your time. Pictures and videos can be handled as I suggested. Just ask her why she is doing it and then talk about your passions in return. IDK maybe she is trying to tell you something, or just wants to share her passion with you. So set your boundaries. Boundaries are rules we set for ourselves. They don't rely on anyone else's agreement or compliance. Your boundary may look like this. I hope you don't take offense. You know I care about you but I have to ask that you stop sending me pictures, videos of your son. I know you are a proud parent, as you should be. But I am not. I don't like getting pics, vids of people's kids, even friends, and I'm now asking all my friends who do this to please stop. By insinuating other friends may be doing it too and you're asking them to stop also, it just may take the sting out for her. If she asks you why, don't explain, justify or defend, just simply say, it just makes me feel uncomfortable. I would just make it clear that you have nothing against her or the child and say how you're not a kid person and her sending all those photos doesn't really do you any good. Or just tell her to not expect you to respond to said photos. I personally would let her send them but ask to send less as it just becomes frustrating. Hopefully she is an understanding person. Lots of people saying either ignore them or tell her to stop completely, maybe consider a middle ground. Something along the lines of hey I love you and I'm glad you guys are having a good time. But can you pick your one favorite pic to send? And maybe over the phone you only talk about the kid and what they did at the beginning of the call, and then the rest is whatever else. Try some boundaries and try to actually address it respectfully instead of ignoring or being fake with responses.